Let's move on to this now. And a groundbreaking initiative is empowering communities to take charge of their own safety. A Community Wolf is a pioneering network that leverages the power of WhatsApp, collective vigilance and AI-driven insights to enhance crime prevention. And in a country like South Africa that grapples with persistently high crime rates and underreporting, it's also a major obstacle. It does look to solve this problem. So how will this innovative approach then make a difference? Well, joining us now is the co-founder of Community Wolf, Michael Houghton, who joins us via Zoom from London as we look to unpack this, Michael, and one who's looking at this tool, they're going, well, this might be exactly what South Africa needs if you're looking at the high crime rates in the country and, of course, the advancements in AI. But take us through exactly how this would work, because you're looking to combat it on two fronts, to assist law enforcement to deploy resources accordingly, but also to make it accessible to the ordinary man on the street via WhatsApp.
Yeah, so I think if we start at first principles, we really believe that every person on earth deserves the right to have safety tools or safety technology. And in South Africa specifically, that means starting with WhatsApp. WhatsApp is used by 98% of South Africans, and it really caters for every South African. Incumbents that have tried to do this before have gone down the app route, and we just think the app route really excludes most of South Africa. So WhatsApp gives us really the unique ability to reach every single South African. And today, Community Wolf offers free safety technology directly inside WhatsApp in any language, any of the major South African languages, that is. And what we're trying to do really is just give everyone these tools for free. And from that, we're building a really good understanding of what's actually happening in South Africa. So we can then, as you rightly say, work with the public safety businesses, private security companies, the state, to add more value to them so that they can keep us safe. We really think this is an ecosystem that deserves attention.
And take me through the practicalities of this then. So I witness a crime and I want to let law enforcement know, or at the very least then report that this is happening. How would this then work in practical terms? Do you send a message to a bot on WhatsApp, and where does it eventually end up?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the analogy I'll give you is Waze, like the mapping app that everyone uses to travel around with. That's really community orientated. If I see, a pothole or whatever, I'll report it on there, and the rest of the community knows. The community can then verify, and that's how you kind of build this ecosystem that is really self-sufficient. And that's kind of at the heart of what Community Wolf is. Aside from the state and the private security companies, a community is kind of given the ability to, I don't want to use the word self-police, but really self-sustain themselves and keep each other aware of what's going on. And then if we bring kind of the state and private security businesses into that ecosystem, all of the data and understanding that we're gathering from a community, we can start piping into control rooms or head offices really for response and prevention. But the long-term goal here is to just get a better understanding of what's actually happening in an ecosystem, in a city, in a township, in a suburb, and then work with the private security and the state to kind of take action on top of that data.
I suppose a big concern then when one listens to this is the veracity of the information that's being shared there. How do you then verify when one is reporting an incident that it is true? Because we've seen in the age of social media, people just regurgitate information without verifying. And of course, AI is a bot. There is no real analysis there. It's just aggregation of information. So how do you then have a layer there to ensure that the information you're sharing is in fact correct?
So we have there's some funny stories already that as you say, people are already abusing or trying to abuse the system. So we're actively working and learning alongside our community. We have moderation tools in place to stop certain things, images of certain stuff and types of content. But the verification loop that we have inside the system now is, if you live in a certain area, you can create areas that you care about, and that might be your school, your home, your place of work. And if something pops up in that area, you can verify that report. And it happens inside of WhatsApp, and then that report will get recirculated as a verified report. Now, obviously, that still doesn't negate all abuse. So at scale, with millions and millions and millions of reports a day, which is where we would like to get to, there's this concept of wisdom of the crowds, which kind of helps you get out the outliers. So in time, as we build a data set, we'll have the ability to detect outliers. But we do have moderation tools really at the base layer, and then a verification system built straight into WhatsApp. So a community can partake in a report, even if they weren't the ones that submitted it.
And as we take a look at some of the WhatsApp interface there, I suppose it's very community focused. The one big positive is it's also absolutely free, but people can communicate in the language of their choice.
Yeah, it's free to all South Africans, and really it's free to anyone in the world, as a matter of fact. And you can talk, as you say, in your language of choice. You can talk multimodal, which is really the term used to say you can send us text, you can send us a voice note, you can send us an image, and in time we'll start working on video as well. And that just means that we give Wolf the ability to absorb as much information as possible, but also gives us the ability to give as much value, again, to every single South African without leaving anybody out.
And how many languages then have you interfaced into Community Wolf? Because we've seen, I think there's a Xhosa, Zulu, Afrikaans option. Is it incorporating all the languages, or are you going to roll that out incrementally?
Yeah, so we'll start rolling that out incrementally. I mean, part of this is us following the footsteps of the giants that are creating these models. So we don't offer right now every single South African language. As you'll know, there are too many to count. But you know, the ones that you've mentioned there, Xhosa, Zulu, Afrikaans, English, Tswana as well. We offer I think five of the 13 languages right now.
Data security is going to be a big one if you're looking at an app like this that could house a lot of information around criminal activities. In the wrong hands, it could be quite dangerous, not only the criminals themselves to perhaps see what's happening in their areas, but hackers who might want to use their information. What safeguards have you built in for that purpose?
Yeah, so we follow all best principles, cybersecurity best principles, and as the platform grows, obviously that will become increasingly concerning for us and something that we really will be paying close attention to. What I can say right now, without going into the details, is every single conversation and every single subsequent report are completely separated from each other, encrypted along its route. And we're working off the back of WhatsApp, which itself is all encrypted. So the entire message trail is encrypted. The report is segregated from the user. We obviously have the ability to unlock that so that if in fact the report gets used by law enforcement in an active case, we can use the key and kind of take that back so we can work with law enforcement. But all of this is really communicated to the user along their conversation with Wolf. But as you say, data is very important to us, and we're well aware that if we start getting this right, it's really going to make a lot of people upset. And by that I mean the criminals. So we look forward to that challenge, and we welcome people using it, and we'll learn alongside them.
And speaking of people using it, then how do they get this Community Wolf? Is it a case of visiting your website, or how do you make sure that some who are listening at home and going, this is something that I feel I could use, can have access to it?
Yeah, so if you go to communitywolf.com, you'll see there's a QR code there. If you're on your desktop, just scan that. It'll open up a WhatsApp chat, and from there, really, you can kick off a conversation. Wolf will explain everything to you. Just ask her what it does. Right now, we've got a few features in there. We've got the ability to look at live news in your area, trips. So if you are moving around, Wolf can monitor where you're going and alert a loved one. And then obviously to report and broadcast reports. But on the website, communitywolf.com is where you'll find it. And from there, share it with your loved ones and families. It's just a contact. It's very easy, no accounts, no downloads, and totally for free. And
it's nationwide or only in the major metros?
No, nationwide, really. We have no ability to stop where Wolf gets picked up, which I think is really the beauty of this. So communities can start picking this up together and using it as a community. And then from there, we'll follow the action, and we'll start working with law enforcement and the private security sectors to start getting a response in your area.
Well, using AI to fight the war against crime, it does promise to be a game changer if it is something that gets off to a flying start. Thank you so much. That is, of course, the co-founder of Community Wolf, Michael Houghton, just joining us via Zoom from London, explaining the benefits of this particular app that they look to use to combat crime.